too high for climbing. It's a long way down, but I don't mind if we're trying.
How's it going, everybody? My name is Carter Hall. This is another fun episode I've been wanting to do for a while. I'm Carter Hall, your host. Thanks for tuning in. I'm with a good friend of mine. We go way back to middle school together, and his name is Brett Meil. He's been doing a lot of great things, Staff Sargent in the Army. Brett, how's it going, man? Thanks for coming on.
It's going good. Just been chilling. Doing a lot of hard work. So you know how it is.
Yeah, man. Um, so like I said, first and foremost, I want to say thank you for your service, dude. I mean, you've done a lot of great things. Through social media, we see each other. I see each other. Your stuff that you do, and I just want to say thank you for your service and a lot of great things you've been doing, man.
I appreciate it, man. I appreciate the support. There's a lot of people out there that really provide the right support, and I definitely appreciate it.
Yes, sir. So, so we said, we first met in middle school, sixth grade, and just kept it rolling. Such a wow, it seems like such a long time ago, but it really, I
Yeah,
don't know,
man.
it felt like a long time ago. But we kind of met through school and maybe played football together. But yeah, it's been a long ride, man.
Oh yeah. I mean, I think we played like sixth grade YMCA or Kids Inc. league together, and played some football. I think I like played defense or something. It's a long time ago for my brain. So
I know, man. um, I just think it's crazy to think that was like August of '09. It feels like it's such a lifetime ago in like the best way possible. It feels like I was almost over 10 years ago, 10, 15 years ago, something like that.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
crazy, man.
That is crazy, dude. Yeah, I mean, middle school was a different time for me, especially growing up at Bonham. But I mean, I moved after sixth grade, so it was kind of like a fresh start and a retry down to Kerrville, Texas, so like a little small town north of San Antonio.
Oh, sweet. So
Yeah,
I remember you moving. I do remember that, like a very
yeah.
little bit. Like, I remember you moving, because I was like, but he said you moved to like towards like the San Antonio area. So like,
hmm
like from there, like I was gonna ask, like, so like well, I was kind of finding interesting, like, how'd you go from like small Amarillo, Texas, playing football for like YMCA or Kids Inc. to being in the military?
I mean, it's kind of a crazy story. I guess I could start off, dude. So when I made that initial move going into seventh grade year, I was introduced to the VP and our vice principal of Kerrville, Hal Peterson Middle School or whatever.
Mhm.
And the first thing I asked him was like, "Hey, do you play football here?" And he kind of joked. He's like, "Oh no, we don't do that down here." And I lost my shit. I was like super upset with my dad. It's like, "How could you take me down here?" And then it turned out it was all a joke, and they actually had a pretty good football program. Ended up going to high school with Johnny Manziel when he was a senior as a freshman, and
Oh
did
wow.
that I did the whole thing with him. I mean, not really. I was nobody. I was a freshman. He was a senior, so didn't really hang out or anything. But I mean, like growing up with the small town culture down there, like really implemented the brotherhood. We tried to do some great things. My senior year in football, doing like just however we shaped our team. If we went undefeated, like I'm sounding like a hometown hero right now, but undefeated and ended up losing in like the second round to Austin team, and just kind of like shaped how I kind of wanted to be as a man. That's kind of like the biggest thing that football did for me is it inspired some work ethic, and I mean I attribute a lot of that to my father as well, and really attributed to my brotherhood feeling as well. So I was my senior year. I had applied to a school in Nebraska, like trying to just like walk on there as a preferred walk on. Didn't end up working out. I don't think I had the grades. I didn't really care too much in high school about my grades. Um, so literally the day I found out that I wouldn't be accepted as I'd have to like take a loan out to go play football. I was like, well, I don't really want to do that. Like that day, the Marine Corps recruiter called me, and they ended up catching my eye, buying me some Chick-fil-A, and I ended up signing the papers. It was like less than 72 hours, and I was enlisted, or at least like sworn in, adept in, I guess is what they call it. And I was a little pulley waiting to go to boot camp as soon as I graduated high school. So, and that happened like November, December of 2015. So, great memories back there. So,
So that's crazy. So you told me a lot of great things. That's such a great story. Wow. So I don't know where to start at. So like you said, you played, so you're able to play sports through like you said, you played football through through middle school and high school, which is pretty
mhm.
crazy. So you were still active. You're still doing your thing, which is pretty cool. So, like you said, you played with Johnny Manziel, the same team.
Yeah, so he went to Kerrville Ivy High School. I
Uh,
didn't play with him. I was a freshman, and I wasn't good
uh,
enough to get like moved up as a freshman. Like I was definitely, I mean, I was my sophomore year I got moved up. So, but
wow.
I definitely wasn't like as talented as like some other people were that were like freshmen in my class that got to play on varsity during the playoffs. I just got to, I was in marching band, so I got to go up to every playoff game because I just marched. So I did that for my freshman year, and then really like committed to the football thing after my freshman year.
That's so cool. I never knew that, man. That's pretty cool that you got to play with Johnny Manziel. Like not
Yeah,
with
yeah,
him, but like you got like this, you all went to the same time,
yeah,
frame. Like that's pretty cool. Never knew that, man. It's pretty awesome.
that was great.
So, like you said, like everybody has a chapter one like journey, no matter like where you want to timestamp things at. So that's kind of crazy, like how you said you went from football to like excuse me, within a few, like you said, you signed up, you enlisted, did all these great things. So like your journey has just been like kind of cool, like the best, like really cool and inspiring, at least from what you told so far. Excuse me. So he said they only took you 70 hours to sign up and get sworn in and do all of that. So like, were you nervous at all? Like, well, take me through that. Were you like, what were you nerves? Like, were you nervous? Like, a ball of nerves? Like, what were you doing? Like, how are you feeling?
Well, I mean, to be blunt, I mean, just like most high school kids with their dads, like I just was over living with my dad. I wanted my own space, my own thing. So I was pretty excited to get out of the house. I was lucky enough to not ship out until August. So I had my senior summer to just basically be a freaking menace to society and did all kinds of crazy stuff
Trust me.
with my buddies and did some church camps, did some other things, and just had a blast for that summer. Nervous is not really the right word. I was pretty prepared. That's something that my recruiter did very well, and some recruiters do not. And he prepared me mentally and physically for kind of like what was going to go on. One of the biggest things you hear about going to boot camp is they can't stop time. Like they have set timelines for you to do things and to be at places, and you have to get certain amounts of sleep throughout the training cycle. So if you go into it with the right mindset, it's really not that difficult. So I mean that's kind of like I guess life in general at that point is the mindset kind of makes everything. So
Oh yeah, I'm real big on that too. Is like having the right mindset
yeah,
just can be real,
yeah,
it can be real like a big thing, big factor in life too. So I'm glad
heck
you
yeah,
brought that up. It's a real good point too. Like just having the right mindset can be the be the key thing. A lot of things, right?
yeah.
Sweet. So, like you said, you had your own. Excuse me. I've been battling cold for the people who are listening. Like I'm on the other side of it, so I'm just have that little like gross stuff. But long story short,
Yeah.
you gotta come here to listen to that. So, uh, like you said, you had your own senior summer, did all the like summer camps, and talked to your recruiter, did what you needed to do. But like lately, I've been doing a lot of CrossFit podcasts and talk about my fitness journey, blah blah, blah and all this different stuff, and talk
Yeah.
about everybody's stuff like that. So that summer going in, like your senior summer, excuse me, were you like were you training at all? Like were you preparing? Like what was that all going on for you? Like what was that like?
Yeah. I mean, that whole summer, I mean, I was at the recruiters hold like they call it PT or physical training. Hold it at the office, usually weekly or bi-weekly or one twice a week, depending on like who needs to be there and who needs to work out, depending on like various levels of shape. But I mean, I also ran track, so um, running track kind of set me up for success because you have to run, at least to get into boot camp, you have to run a mile and a half and under a certain amount of time. I don't remember. I was always relatively quick, even for my size, and like being able to run basically. So I didn't really have to worry about that. Something I did have to get better at was pull ups. I just had an underdeveloped back as a guy, and so I could like do like 6 pull ups before I went to boot camp. I'm
Wow.
solid now. I can do like well over 23. But like back in the day, I was like, oh man, I've never done a pull up in my life. Like this is rough. Like this is hard. So like just like the recruiters kind of set you up for your goals and like for what you need to do when you get to boot camp, kind of thing. But I mean, my fitness journey in general has been really really shaped by a whole bunch of different factors. Like when you get in the Marine Corps, you get kind of awoken to different types of fitness for sure. Like you have your regular physical fitness, and then you have your combat fitness as well, which is how much weight can you carry on your back and still carry more and carry your buddy or whatever it may be. Like being able to move with some weight on with weapon system and be able to get to where you need to be. And like how do you get there? How can you still fight when you get there? Like there's a whole bunch of how the Marine Corps is kind of shifting their minds as well of like, hey, like these guys can't like don't just need to be able to run 3 miles and shorts and a t-shirt and running shoes. Like this dude needs to be able to move with some weight on his back
Yeah.
and boots and like, and the Marine Corps is kind of shifting that way and it's kind of nice to see. But I mean it's been my fitness journey has had a lot of factors and like I've like completely like not worked out for like months and then like, oh crap, I got to get back into shape. Like I've done a whole roller coaster of fitness,
Yeah.
if you will.
Oh yeah, man. So when you said like running with weight and stuff like that, it reminded me. No way am I trying to compare CrossFit to your training because like
No, yeah.
the Marine Corps because that's like comparing apples to orange. Like yours is much more intense. I would say that like in the best way possible.
I don't
So
know, man. CrossFit workouts kick my ass. So
so no, I bet you killed most of them honestly because every Memorial Day weekend, you may have heard this workout. A lot of people in the CrossFit space probably have some Murph workout. It's a 1 mile
oh yeah,
run, all that stuff. So all the fun stuff. I've done it quite a few times, and no matter how much you prepare for it, it always kicks your butt. But one thing about CrossFit too is that like there's rucking, like running with a weighted vest on, stuff like
yep,
that, like 25 pound vest on, all the fun stuff, right?
yeah,
So that stuff that like it's just when I think of it, like it just like I've never done it, like because I'm a big guy as it is anyway. I'm not trying to carry more weight when I'm running because
yeah,
honestly, I hate cardio, like pull ups, all that stuff. No way am I doing that stuff. But it's always cool to like see how like you can push yourself. Like having the right mindset, like we said earlier, like rucking, doing all the fun stuff.
yeah,
Is that stuff that like you said, running with a person on your back, like that's taking rucking to another level. You're running the living person on your back. So
yeah, yeah. I mean, we actually have it's called the CFT or Combat Fitness Test. So you actually have to. It's called the Maneuver Under Fire, and you do like a whole string of exercises down. You got to grab your buddy, you got to drag him, and then you got to put him on your back, and you got to carry him back roughly like 60-ish meters or 60-ish meters, yeah. And
oh,
then you
wow.
drop them, and then you pick up some ammo cans and do the whole thing again. So I mean, like there's definitely some CrossFit elements into it, and I think the Marine Corps kind of looked at it as like, hey, like how do we need to do things, and how do we need to better our Marines so that they can be as effective in combat as we can? Because at the end of the day, if you join the Marine Corps, yeah, I guess I can't really say that. If you join the Marine Corps infantry, which I did, your end goal is combat. Like your end goal is to go like do your job, and whether that be like actual like Afghanistan, Iraq, whatever you call it, or if it's humanitarian aid in Djibouti, Africa, or Ethiopia, or like anywhere tsunami, Japan, like not obviously not tsunami Japan, but the tsunami that happened in
Yeah.
Japan. Uh, like wherever that may be, like there's usually Marines on the ground, like helping out in any way that they can. So
Yeah.
I think the Marine Corps takes their physical fitness pretty severely.
Yeah, I see him, and it's pretty serious, I think. I mean,
Yeah.
just doing everything, like preparing for the unknown. Really, it's pretty much what it sounds like to me, just from an outside point of view looking in. Just like you said, going to do a tour, going to do like you said, humanitarian things. Just here in America or doing something. It's just like you're preparing for something that may happen or may not happen. But
Mhm.
whenever it happens, something happens, like y'all are prepared to do it.
Yeah.
Like y'all are set on doing whatever y'all need to get like the job done. At the end of the day. And what's cool too is like in CrossFit too. Like I keep going back to CrossFit, but there's a promise. I'm gonna bring this around. I promise you. So there's a guy you may have heard of. I don't know if you've heard of him, but his name is Josh Bridges, and his name is so he competes, but he was a former Navy SEAL as well. So he talks about at least he had a podcast for a while, and he talks about like going to buds and doing this and that, just and doing this different stuff. So for you, like, was any transition over for the CrossFit, obviously, but for you, like when you went to like basics and did all this stuff, like, were you like, what was that like when you actually step foot on ground? Like, was that stuff like were you prepared for that, or is anybody really prepared for that?
So stepping on the yellow footprints when you get to MCRD San Diego or Paris Island for the other folk.
Yeah.
It is definitely it's a culture shock for sure, and the Marine Corps is a melting pot of all cultures. Like they truly bring you in, they break you down, and they rebuild you is what they want and what they want you to be. And some people can't take it, and so some people do drop out. I mean, Marine Corps boot camp is definitely not the hardest thing I've ever done, but at the time it is. It's for sure like Marine Corps boot camp. Well, there's a saying: Marine Corps boot camp is the hardest thing you'll do in the Marine, or is the hardest thing you'll do before the Marine Corps. Because once you get in, man, the follow-on courses are rough. Like I'm a combat instructor right now for IMC, which is the Infantry Marine Course. So I'm teaching those kids who just graduated boot camp. I call them kids. Those grown men who just graduated boot camp. I'm teaching them how to do my job. So that first week is shooting. Like it's the first day we call it T Day 1. Is is rough. It's like a 10-mile ruck uphill in Camp Pendleton. We got some mad hills. We call it the Alpha Show. You either go up the microwave, which is hot no matter what, and then you go down the Trail of Tears, or that you do it the other way around. And there's some fighting, there's some boxing, there's some ground fighting, there's workouts in between, and then kind of culturally set the tone of like, hey, you're a gentleman, you're here to do a job, and you need to be ready to be able to do that job. And that next week is all shooting, getting them familiarized with the weapon system that the infantry uses, and then following on week we're shooting grenade launchers. Granted, we're moving to all of these ranges with weight on our back, and combat instructor leading the pace, so we're moving pretty quickly. Then there's follow on ranges. There's land navigation, how to move or how to navigate where you're going from place to place with a map and a compass and a protractor. And
Oh,
um, there's a whole bunch of things. They shoot mortars, they shoot machine guns, they shoot rocket launchers, they blow things up with demolitions. They do a whole bunch of stuff when they get to me, and we just have to make sure that they're prepared and ready to do it. And so like that this course in itself is probably one of the more difficult things people will do in their lives and Marine Corps careers. I couldn't attest it to buds or recon training or anything like that, because it's not designed to be that. It is difficult though, and we do have an attrition rate. Kids just aren't ready, and they either will mentally break, which is not our goal at all. Our goal is to be that 1 in 16 person, that mentor and lead them like the right way. But sometimes you have kids that just cannot either put up, or they can't shut up, and they just end up getting out of themselves and kind of quit, which is unfortunate. Um, but there's a I think there's a lot to be learned of making yourself uncomfortable, and that's kind of what we're kind of trying to teach them to do is being comfortable and get comfortable being uncomfortable, because as soon as you can do that, man, you can do anything. You can do
yeah.
anything. It's crazy.
That's a big thing too. Like I'm glad you brought a lot of that stuff up because you've hit a lot of great points. It's like you said, like being comfortable in the unknown, expecting like what could happen, like what could happen, like
Yeah.
being comfortable with the uncomfortable kind of situation, like you said. Like you said, there's so many great things too. Like people, there's so many things like you said that people break, but you don't. Your intention is not to break these people that come in. But it's so interesting too. It's like hearing that because like there's so many different like aspects that you get to take like through this course. You said there's 10-mile rocking, running with a weight vest on and doing demolition, doing all these different things like firing guns or doing this and that, which is something I give a whole lot of credit to those people like you and everybody else who signs up because there's no way I could have done that. So
Yeah.
just doing all of that, like you said, nutrition is another big key too, and all this that you've done too is like. But was there anything like in particular when you first joined, like first going through boot camp and all that stuff? Was there anything in particular that you learned that you're like, oh, this is pretty cool, or like after a while you're like, oh man, this is probably not my thing?
I mean,
No, it's
yeah,
not so
I
much
mean,
not so much not your thing, but like you want like maybe you find interest more like elsewhere, if that makes sense.
yeah. So I mean, you do a lot of I'm trying to think of the right word. Do a lot of stuff in boot camp. A lot of dumb stuff, a lot of cool stuff, but a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Some of the dumb stuff is holding a bag up in front of you until God knows when, until they say stop, basically. But I mean, you do drill, right? And I guess this is where I'm going to allude to that point. Drill, which is like where like have you see those people who like march out or like have the
Mhm.
flag like flip bears during football games and stuff like that. So that's called close order drill or drill. That's something I do not do ever in my day to day life. Like I mean, mine like maybe little bits here and there, but like not ever like the way that the boot camp way is. And some different MOSs are way more into it, and like this is what makes a good Marine Corps unit. And is that true? Is that not true? I'm not here to judge about that. I've been a part of really good Marine Corps units that have not, drilled at all, and been a part of really shitty Marine Corps units that have drilled all the time. So it's like,
Yeah.
and it's hit or miss. Like it just kind of depends on your chain of command, man. And it's like so that's something that I'm like kind of like, I could do without this. But I'm also not the your prototypical jarhead that's gonna give you the oorah answer all the time. Like that's something I take pride in with my junior Marines that I usually get into. I'm like, hey, gentlemen, at the end of the day, we're grown men. You're a grown man. I'm a grown man. If you have a grown man problem and you need me to help you address this problem and whatever it is, and I'm going to help you. But if you come at me as like this private, which they are, and you're disrespecting either myself or the Marine Corps, I'm going to have to settle that in a different line of sight.
Yeah.
So I give my Marines like a little two-way of like, hey, gentlemen, if there's something serious and you need something, like, please talk to me and like let me, be that good staff and CO for you. Or if they need the boot, sometimes they get the boot in the butt. So it just kind of depends uh, on really who you have. As I said, man, the Marine Corps is the melting pot of society. So
Most
you'll
definitely.
get people from Compton, USA, and people from Podunk County, Iowa. And it's
Yeah.
crazy because those two will be the best of friends. And you're like, there's no way, man, that these two are best friends right now. And the Compton kid will go to Boot Barn and buy a $200 worth of pearl snaps, boots, and jeans, and
Yeah.
the other dude will buy a fresh pair of Jordans. And it's like, holy crap, man. Like,
Yeah.
what is going on over here, man? You get shot in your
Yeah.
town if you wear those Jordans.
Yeah. It's always cool too, like you said, like it's just a melting pot. If you're like willing to be like go and talk to somebody, like, hey, like if we like more, like I always say, like I always believe like we always have more like as people, society, like we may have more than what am I trying to say here? What's the right word? We may be more like we may be more in common than we are apart, if that makes sense. Like we
Yeah.
may like who knows, like to the person like you said, you're a melting pot. Like when you step up into those yellow lines or any aspect of life, like, hey, to the person to the left or your right of you, you may like not know them, but like, hey, if you just had a conversation for them for 5 minutes, like, hey, like you may have more than common with that person, but then you may think otherwise. But as like, excuse me, where you're at, like in your situation, like you're fighting, you're doing this, you're serving this country, so it takes it to another deeper level. Like, yeah, let's get to know each other. Like, we're gonna be doing all of these great, like, sorry, a lot of a lot of these great things, and it's like, man, like if you just have a crowd, like, like you said, from someone from Compton or someone from somewhere else, like, yeah, they could be the best of friends and not even know each other. until just now, you know.
Yeah, yeah, and that's what's really crazy is because we really try to preach. You got to do it for the guy to your left and your right, man. You got to do it for your brothers that are going to be there with you, and we kind of let them know that um, we're not in this for ourselves. And I mean, I can plug somebody, but there's a rapper that's a former Marine named Fitzy Mess. He has a song called "Welcome to the Infantry." If you want to check that out, it's a phenomenal song, and a
Check
lot
it
of
out.
people won't understand it. But I grew up in the culture. The culture's kind of shifted now, and people are less hate. You could call it haze happy, which is definitely for the better. Because I mean, I can tell you Marine Corps stories of me getting destroyed by different things. Like, dude, I one time I load crawled. Uh, they're 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 on a catwalk. My seniors were on a catwalk, and I was low crawling through this like concrete pasture, and people were belting beer bottles with me, and all the only thing I had on was a Kevlar like a helmet, and like I'm getting a haze, and then I'd have to make it to the other side, chug a beer or chug something. I'm 18. I don't know what the hell's going on. I'm just doing what they're telling me to do, and then I have to low crawl back across. So,
Jeez.
like that stuff could be definitely left out of the Marine Corps. Did I have fun doing it? Yeah, but it's not like, like that's not going to build culture. That's going to make people fear you or not like you, and that's kind of like the thing we need to avoid as leaders. But I mean, at the end of the day, like I tell all of my Marines, like, gentlemen, I any given day I'll give you my life. I give my life for you guys just to make sure that you guys are all right. And I mean, I have a story for that as well. If you would mind me to share or not.
Right
All right,
ahead,
cool.
man.
Um, so a couple of months back, so as I said, I'm a combat instructor at SOI West here in Camp Pendleton. I had a kid freak out and completely just fight, freeze, or flee, with a life threatening things. And dude freaked out when he was prepping a frag, and he wouldn't let go of it because he froze. So I had to lift him up, hit the grenade out of his hands, and both uh, us and the grenade landed outside of the pit, unfortunately. And I took approximately 20 pieces of shrapnel in the legs, 2 pieces in my nose right here, and
Oh, wow.
I ended up landing on top or covering the kid up. He took no damage. I got a pretty severe TBI, which was great for my wife. She hates that. It was 11 days after our wedding, actually, so she hated that even more.
Oh man. Hey, I can't hear. I think you're muted. I think you're muted. There you go. I think I can hear you
Uh,
now.
Good.
Yeah, no, you're good. Sorry, it's just I don't
All
know
right.
how to. I think you're just you muted for a little bit. I thought it was me. I was like trying to figure it out, but I'm sorry.
No,
You're
you're
talking
good.
about. I think you're talking about your wedding day, and you kind of like went off from there.
Yeah. So yeah, I got married 11 days prior to the accident happening, and the wife, she wasn't very happy about it. Uh, and you know, I I ended up, trying to do as best as I can to recover, and I turned a year-long recovery process into about like 6-ish months. So did and that was with physical therapy, their actual therapy, occupational therapy, like all of the therapies.
Mm.
So I like got some of my memory back, which was like a huge thing. And I had some vestibular problems, so balance. Like I had to do vestibular therapy so I could actually walk right, and then my left leg shrunk because I couldn't walk for a couple weeks. So left leg's tiny, and I'm like, I got to rebalance myself, and I had to like kind of like restart a fitness journey there, and I mean I'm getting back on track right now. So left my getting some muscle back and getting fit enough to be able to do 20 miles with the boys again, and
Oh,
show them how a good combat instructor can walk. So but we're getting there, man. But yeah, it was definitely a life changing experience. I definitely have a different outlook on life now. Like a lot of things that used to bother me don't really bother me anymore, and
mhm.
it's just been great.
Jeez, man, I'm just listening to this. I'm just like, it doesn't sound like I know it's real, but it doesn't sound real. It sounds like I don't know if that makes any sense. I know, like, I can't explain. Like I don't know. It felt so cool to like hear that story because like you like something happened and then like you overcame like all this and you're still overcoming it. Like you man, like it feels like that's such a great story. Like I don't explain it. Like you did. Thank you for sharing that too. That's such a
Yeah,
cool thing to tell. I mean, it sounds like you came a long way, man. And I want to congratulate you for doing so many great things too for all
I
that.
appreciate it, dude.
Yeah, man. And wow, that's pretty cool. Got goosebumps for a little bit.
Oh man, that's crazy.
So, so this is crazy. Like you came back, that happened. So you got married, and literally like less than 2 weeks later, you like all this happens, and you overcame so much. You said you're going to the point now where you're running 20 miles.
Not running, just moving with
Moving.
students. So like we have to do like rucks essentially, but they're just hikes and movements and
Yeah.
you name it, we're doing it. Just laid on our back, like probably last one I had like we had like set they had like 70-pound packs. I had a 90-pound pack because fuck that, I had to be better than them. You kind of got to show them like, hey, gentlemen, like you may be all right, you may be at the end of your course, but you're still not at the peak or the epitome. So, um, yeah, I mean that's kind of like the mentality of a combat instructor is like, hey, gentlemen, like check it out, like you're good, but I'm better, and you kind of have to show that because you got to be that leader for them. You got to give them something to emulate, and I mean some people take that very seriously, like myself, and some people don't. Some people are like, I don't care what they think about me, and it's like, man, you're literally their first exposure to a senior Marine that is not a dude playing dress up with a hat.
Yeah.
Sorry, that was a dig at drill instructors. Probably shouldn't have said that, but it's whatever.
You know, good man. So like you said, dude, just having like the right leader, it sounds like you're the right leader for them too. It feels like you're just like giving, like just having the right person, like going into something, no matter where it's like in life, it just feels like if you have that right person leading you, like from experience or something else, because you said you overcame something huge in your life, that accident to you, somewhere than where you're at now. It's like, hey guys, I may have been gone, but like, hey, I'm still here. Like I'm doing this with you, but hey, like you still got more to learn. Like just having that leadership and have that mentality is such a big, big thing too. It's
Yeah.
like, like that's something. Is that something that like they drilled in you? Or is that something you think you've had beforehand? You just discovered it? Or was that, what do you think that is?
I think my dad did a very good job. At the time, I didn't think so, but he did a very good job at raising me and thinking, like, kind of shifting my mentality of like, hey, dude, like you got to be better. Like you got to be better than yourself, and you can't. You got to be humble. Like humble is something that he had always preached to me, and I was very lucky to kind of accept that at a young age of like, hey, like I always got to get better. Like I got to be able to. One of my old coaches, Coach Hickman,
Oh,
he's down at Flower Bluffs now, I think. I don't know.
yeah.
He used to be like, you got to chip away at the rock. You got to keep grinding, man. You got to every day. You got to wake up and take another chip out of the rock, and then one day it'll be a pebble, and you can just
Yeah.
pick it up and move it. So I used a lot of that mentality stuff. I probably bought in, to high school football, and that kind of has carried me throughout my Marine Corps career. Like, hey, I can't be comfortable, right? I can't just sit here and stagnate. Like, I gotta do something to become better. And I mean, it's carried me pretty far. I'm doing decent things here in the Marine Corps. Speaking of, I'm working on my bachelor's degree and
Oh,
not really like
congratulations, man.
yeah. So it's called tuition assistance. Basically, they just pay for you
Mhm.
every however many classes for how much money they allocate for each individual individual. And yeah, like I'm working on a bachelor's of professional studies, and just
Wow.
it's kind of like an upper level management degree, and just kind of trying to see where my next step is going to be, basically. So
That's pretty awesome, man. It sounds like you're doing a lot of great, great things right now. It's just so I would keep congratulating you for a lot of great things.
yeah,
I don't think
yeah, man, I appreciate it. I mean, don't need the congrats, man. I mean, you're over here killing it too.
um,
Like it's
thanks, man.
awesome, man. Working for the saw poodles, doing that whole
No,
gig, man. It's so sick.
trust me, that's cool. But like the stuff that you're doing is like so cool too. I want to turn into like a congratulations fest over here. I don't plan it to be, but it's like the stuff that you're doing a lot of great things too. Like man, like there's a lot of stuff that, like you said, like we like it's like the Michael Scott person. It's like, oh, how the turntables. Like
Yeah,
I don't mean to turn it back on you, but it feels like you really went from like you said, you're playing high school football. You're a freshman when Johnny Manziel was playing football to doing what you're doing now. You're doing a lot of great things. Like you're like like you're pretty much in control of your own platoon. It seems, it sounds like, and doing like a whole lot of great things. And so it's like you're just keep like climbing that mountain, like you said, just like one. Like where's one thing you said earlier too that really like piqued my interest, and that was like you said, like just keep chipping at the rock, and one day it's going to be a pebble. That's something I've keep telling myself too. It's like the little things in life, it's like the small victories can lead to something big one day. It's like this is hey, like this is something small, but like hey, long run it's going to be something big one day. Just keep doing this, keep winning those small victories. And it's just like at the end of the day, it's going to be something big. So when you said that, like, oh, that's so cool, because like I didn't know if I was the only one who said that, and or thought
Yeah.
that. And then when you said that, like, oh, that makes so much more sense. And like, dude, like you are like one of the most humble like leaders there are.
I appreciate that. I doubt that. I definitely get some ego-esque things that go on in my brain, but I mean, you just gotta stay humble, and that's kind of like the combative thing in my life is can't let my head get too big, and gotta be able to continue to get better, and I think that's kind of just the mindset that I try to strive to have, I guess.
Yeah, most definitely, man. I mean, so like you said, you're working towards your bachelor's now and doing all like you said, like doing what the next step is. So like, are you still like, so like on your day to day, like is it like as like since you've joined and been doing a lot of a lot of great things. I can't speak. Like you said, the Marine Corps and all these different things. Like, have you done like has a lot of stuff carried over, obviously from like that area to like you wake up like, okay, I gotta go do such and such now. Like it's this time. Like, are you still doing that, or are you more like, you know what, I want to sit back and like watch ESPN today, or just hang out, or like, are you still doing stuff like what's your day to day like normal? Like, are you still running 20Ks or doing like rocking, do all the fun stuff?
I mean, it kind of depends on the day, if I'm being honest with you. Right now I'm on an off cycle. We just graduated a group of dudes who are going to do off and go do great things in the Marine Corps, and so I get a little bit of a break, couple weeks off. But yeah, come that March pickup day where we pick up the new Marines, we we gotta hit the ground running. That's when we'll do that 10K run, and then like I'll be in a leadership role and have to like do all the administrative stuff, and like
Oh,
that's
sweet.
me going to work and doing work for the next 14 weeks. And there's days within there that are built in to get you off early or like stuff like that. And then the weekends, I have the weekends to be a man, like be a guy.
Yeah.
Like last weekend, we did a snowboarding trip with my guy, like with my group of instructors, and went out there. A few of us, actually can snowboard, and the most of us, some of us can't. And that's just trying to help one buddy through, and then he's like, "Dude, just leave me. I'll do it myself." Like, and you're just falling down the mountain the whole day, and all of us are getting lost and doing whatever we can on the mountain, and it's just having a good time. And so like I get to be a regular human, but when you're an entry level Marine, right? Like you're going through boot camp, you're doing that. Like boot camp is all gas all the time. Like you're never not learning how to be a Marine. And then IMC, you get your 5 days, and those 5 days you're becoming an infantryman, and that needs to be your mindset, being a sponge, like really taking in the job that you sign up to be. And then Saturday, Sunday gives you like that Saturday, like kind of lets you breathe a little bit, and then that Sunday you kind of have a little bit of a day, and then you come back, prep for the next week, whatever that is, pack for the field, get ready for classes, you name it, that's what they got to do. And then carry on, do the whole thing, and then 14 weeks, and then they'll go to the fleet. Once you get the Fleet Marine Force or the FMF, you get to be a person. Like you
Yeah.
have, we call them garrison weeks, at least in the infantry, um, where you're like just doing classes throughout the day. And I mean, when I was a platoon sergeant at the time, like I'd be like, I try to get my boys off before noon every day. It's like, hey, gentlemen, like, and then even on top of that, try to get my boys to the gym at like 11, and then be like, all right, hey, after you work out at the gym, go home. So
Yeah.
that's just something that's a perk you can get as being a leader, but doing it that way, you also got to be on your stuff. Like you got to be on top of it.
Yeah.
So you got to make sure that you have all the things done, and then you got to have some cojones to be like, hey, boss, like I sent my guys home. Can we wait for this task to be done tomorrow? Because it can be done tomorrow. The Marine Corps doesn't like to do that, so you have to have the right leadership in order, like guys above you, in order to be able to pull that off. And I've had that. Like I've been
Hmm.
blessed pretty recently with a bunch of guys. That'll be like, that can be a tomorrow task. We'll knock it out bright and early, and like you kind of get a bit buy and sell, give and take, and kind of do that way with and play that kind of like game with them. And
Mhm.
but I mean, once you hit the real Marine Corps, the Fleet Marine Force, you can be a person. You can leave whenever you want. You can do whatever you want, minus like field ops. Like if you go on a field, you'll go to sleep in the bushes for a week or two,
Yeah.
or do some odd training every so often. So yeah,
Oh,
it's definitely a unique life. A very varied life. I mean, I've been to Japan twice, Australia, Thailand, South Korea, Israel, Saudi Arabia,
jeez.
Kuwait,
It's all
Bahrain, Djibouti, Africa. I've been to a lot of places. Um,
wow. So,
so
so he's been
you
around the
know,
road back. It seems like he's just been doing all this fun stuff. Not
it's
like
it's
like
not all fun.
not
It's
fun. I
not
mean,
all.
not even like that. I mean, like you're doing all this stuff, and then like you're
Yeah.
like, oh, like you're working, but like at the same time, like, oh man, it's like check like in a way, like, oh yeah, I visited this country. Oh yeah, I visited this like this continent, or
Yeah.
did this or do that. That's something that
Yeah.
I feel like that's pretty cool too. It's like if you could see that if you could say cool in that aspect, if you know what I mean, like
Oh no, it's definitely an experience that I'm glad I have. Like compared to my wife, I mean, she's had to pay for all of her travels, but I was stationed in Hawaii for 4 years and got to live my best life on one of those beautiful islands in the entire world. So like there's benefits for sure. I mean, there are also some really shitty times in Hawaii.
yeah,
So like it just kind of depends. You're very far from home. You're not seeing your family like at all. I think I see my mom and dad maybe once or twice a year, and like that sucks. But you got to make best with like make do with what you got, and like I make sure to call them at least once a week, and you do what you got to do.
yeah. So he said, like you said, this be able to, like you said, there are some stuff some like benefits of going to like cool places, like you said, Hawaii. You spent some time there, and then but there are some like other crappy times where you said they going to places like or doing things. Doesn't mean now it's like you said, but man, is there a place that you like with your work that you wanted to go to? Maybe like if there was an opportunity that came up, like, oh yeah, Brett, you're going to such and such place to do your thing that you need to do, like obviously there's one thing in do you're having to do it actually like, oh no, I want to go on the next trip, like like you're not doing that, but obviously like, hey,
Yeah.
is there one place like you thought like with your work that you'd want to go to, like one country or one place like, oh yeah, I really want to go there?
I mean, I have some Europe trips planned with my wife coming up eventually, in the next couple of years.
Yeah.
But like I do definitely want to explore Europe. Um, but I mean, the Marine Corps also offers a program called Marine Security Guard, and it's where Marines literally enlist and become security guards at all the embassies around the world. So if the place has a Marine Corps embassy, you can go there and you'll be a security guard and you'll live there. Some places you'll live in a mansion and have personal chefs. Other places you'll be in a box, literally, and just trying to
Yeah.
survive for a year. Um, but I mean, no, there's not really anything that necessarily spikes my mind. One of my buddies is getting to go down to I think Chile, and then teach the
Wow.
Chilean Marines how to use the LAVs, which are the light armored reconnaissance vehicles that we used forever in the Marine Corps.
Oh wow,
Um,
that's awesome.
so like he gets to go teach that entire force alone, like basically like with a group of guys, and they're just in Chile doing whatever they want to do. Not whatever they want to do, but
Yeah.
they get to be people in Chile. They get to live in another country for 4 years and teach these Chilean Marines like what they're do like how to do this thing, and it's really cool. It's super unique.
Yeah.
So like there's a lot of opportunities in the Marine Corps that a lot of people kind of like don't have credit, like don't give credit for, and it's kind of cool. I mean, you can go work at as an active duty personnel. You can go work at a reserve station somewhere, and kind of like work a normal job for once, and so
Mhm.
it's kind of cool. So
Yeah. Well, that's pretty cool. Usually, like you said, there's always stuff that you can, like, you're always can do. Like you said, living in a mansion, do all these great things. Like doing something. There's always like you did, doing security, all these great things. But yeah,
yeah.
so it actually sounds pretty cool. I didn't know there was much more into it. I guess I guess it makes sense now hearing it. I guess there's much more into it. It makes more like I didn't know there was not that much into it. I guess thinking about it.
Yeah. Yeah, I know a lot of people don't realize like the Marine Corps is not just go over there, go shoot that guy, right? It's there's like a lot of logistical support behind it, right? Like you have your administrative personnel, you have, your flight crew, your flight mechanics, you have motor T, which is just transport and their mechanics, you have all kinds of supply, you name it, there's a job for it. You got legal, you have people who are like legal clerks and legal Marines. You have there's a lot of avenues that the Marine Corps offers. I'm not trying to be a freaking recruiter right now. It's not my
You're
job.
good, man.
But
I get it
I
too.
like it's just I think that's something that a lot of people just think immediately, like, oh, the Marine Corps, I gotta go do this. Now, in my eyes, I joined the Marine Corps to do one thing, and that was to be in the infantry and do the thing as an infantryman. Because like that's what everybody envisions a United States Marine.
Yeah,
So
for sure. There's a lot of good things that can come obviously with this career, this path, this life path. A lot
yeah.
of cool things. It's obviously what I've seen from you, like just like some of the stuff I've seen. I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool. Like Brett's doing so many great, cool things. It's so cool in different avenues. I'm like, but like a couple more questions. I'm sorry. I just feel like I'm so
No,
intrigued.
you're good, man.
Let's get 21
No,
questions.
you're
I don't
good.
know like what to ask. I'm sorry, but so like so what am I trying to ask here? So like, how do you like? You said you're training like your own guys. You said you're a leader. You're doing all this. So like, is there like a way that like you prepare them? Like, is there anything? Is it all up to you, or like is there like people like you're like okay? I don't know if you can answer this question at all, but like as far as like training, like you said you're going to the gym. Let's do okay, guys. We're going to do upper body day. We're going to do chest. We're going to do blah blah blah. Like as far as like that kind of stuff, are you doing your own thing? Are you doing your own workouts with them?
So in the Fleet Marine Force, yeah, Fleet Marine Force, yeah, you're a combat instructor, or sorry, if you're a squad leader or something, you can dictate the workouts, because you do take classes, like we call it force fitness and stuff like that, to where like there's a avenue to become a CPTR in the Marine Corps, but you get like basic certifications anyway. Um, so
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
like I would do like a specific day, a combat fitness day, and then a recovery day, and like that would be most of my PTs. And then like every like 2 weeks, I'd have like a fun PT, like we go play soccer, go play frisbee, go play
Oh, cool.
football, do something like that, So and those PTs usually happen anywhere from 5 to 7 in the morning. Different places allow different times. Just it just allows for better stuff if you get to have like an earlier time, like it allows people to get breakfast. We call it chow breakfast meals, like go
Yeah.
get food. And if you have a later time, then some people don't get to eat, and some people don't like eating before they work out. Like if you go on a 3 mile run, and I just had like a chicken sandwich from the chow, like it's like well, I'm not really feeling this 3 mile run right now. So
Yeah.
um, there's different schools of thought there, but yeah. So but as a combat instructor, there's a group. We have a PT section, and they kind of handle all that. Those sometimes will PT the guys, and a lot of mine are hit focused, or so like if I got them, I'm gonna do like we're gonna do this with a little bit of weight on. We're gonna go put our flax on with our sappies in, and we're gonna do push-ups, burpees, jumping jacks, like you name it. We're probably gonna do it, and we're just gonna get our bodies moving and get some cardio health in us. So
Yeah. Oh, that's pretty cool, man. It's pretty dope just hearing that. That's the insights of it too, because I've always been interested in that kind of stuff too. It's like how do like for CrossFit, there's like your level one, like your L2, like level two, all
yeah,
these different things. You can like
yeah.
do like benefits that come with like each like level, but
Mm.
like I know like that aspect of it. I'm like with military, I was like these people are obviously like en route or already like support like are like protecting our country. Like, how do you train the people who are protecting our country? Like that was always something like in the back of my mind. Like, so like what's going like how's there like a regimen of going on? Like when you said that, I'm like, oh, that makes sense now. Like I would never eat a turkey sandwich or eat anything really before a big workout because I'm always so like in my head and like butterflies in a good way before a workout. I'm like I try not to overthink the workout if that makes sense. Like, oh my gosh, I literally like go like okay, like I glance at it for a quick second. I'm like, okay, don't overthink it because if I know something's coming, like a cardio workout or really burpees or burpee box jump overs or something like that,
Yeah,
like I'm gonna be like in my head about it. Like, oh, there's no way I want to do this workout. So is there anybody like you or anybody like like not even like let me put it to you this way. Have you ever been through that like okay, like man, this is like I'm not really looking forward to this and work I'm on my own head or from me personally, I rather not look at a workout and go into it completely blind. Are you that type of person or no?
No, I'm definitely a planner. I definitely like to have my workout regimented, and all of that. But I mean, there are aspects like we call it War X. It's like the last week. That it's called the war fighting exercise or war fighter exercise. Because we call the young Marines war fighters because that's what they are. They're going to go fight the next war. Um, so that Monday morning is like that Monday itself is a very rough. Well, that week is freaking miserable. But that Monday, you wake up and the first thing you got to do is roughly it's like 600 meters swim in a boat in the boat basin. Which this last time, that water was freezing cold, like ice bath cold. So
Wow.
we swam that, put our packs on, and moved for roughly 20-ish miles, give or take. Then we stopped for the night, posted some security, and then started doing patrols. And then we had to patrol, go try to find our buddies, or go play a fight against the operational forces or like the fake bad guys, and we'd go like try to ambush them or whatever it may be. Like it's a nonstop week-long event that just slays the crap out of you, man. And
Uh,
every time going into that, I sit there, I'm like, I would rather not be doing this right now. But then you get in it, and we call it the suck, man. When you get in the suck, man, there's nothing that bonds a group of men or a group of
yeah.
people, even like like the suck does, man. When you're in the suck and you look over and your buddy's miserable, wet, and feet are soaked, face is soaked, you're sitting there shivering in your sleeping bag, and he's just shivering right next to you. There's nothing that's going to make a bond like that. And
Yeah,
like
for
that's
sure.
that's kind of something like that's crazy, man. Like you'll see these kids like get so close, and
Yeah.
you're like, "Wow, you hated each other at the beginning of the cycle, man, and now here you are, your best friends, going
Yeah.
out on liberty together, going outside to going to the beach together, going hang out."
Yeah, that's pretty much how it is, man. It feels like that's so relatable. That's super, super relatable because like even like the gym I go to, it's like the CrossFit gym I go to, it's like I hate like like you can hate a workout. Like in the middle of it, like you could be miserable with the person right next to you. But
Yeah,
like to the workout, like I've done it more times than I counted over the last 4 or 5 years. I could be laying on the floor like workout sucked, but that feeling afterwards, like the person like laying next to you, like, oh my God, that was horrible. But like that feeling of like, oh my God, like I accomplished something today. That could
yeah,
be a big victory or small victory. It's like still that feeling like, oh my God, like that one thing like we went through like heck, like we went through that together. And it felt like now we made it to the other side. It feels like, oh my gosh, like it's such a weird complex unless you've been through it, it's such a weird feeling to describe.
yeah, for sure. Yeah, no, that's definitely true. And a lot of that is like, hey, man, if you haven't done it, you're missing out. Honestly, I feel as if, but it's crazy though. It's a crazy feeling.
Yeah. I could definitely tell you've been through it a whole lot, man. It feels like you've been doing a lot of great things, man. I felt like a lot of cool things. Like you've been all over the place too. And it's like I've learned a lot in this podcast too. It's feels like we can go on and on, man. But man,
Yeah.
you played at the same high school as Johnny Manziel. You did so many great things. You went to Hawaii. You've done so many cool things. I don't know what else to ask, man. That's so many cool things.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I've definitely lived a life, man. It's been a fun one, to say the least. So,
Man. Well, before you head out, is there anything else you want to cover yet?
I don't have anything else on my mind, but I definitely appreciate you having me on here. It was great talking to you, great catching up to you, man. Like, definitely need to go get a drink or go get some food sometime.
For sure, man. We've been like this feels like this podcast can go on for like hours, it seems like. I don't know, but
Yeah,
I
yeah,
don't want to do that to you too, man. But it feels like yeah, you could go on and on. It seems like but sorry, swap stories of forever and ever. But um
yeah,
yeah, thank you for coming on, Brett. I can't thank you for coming off again.
yeah. Of course, man. I appreciate you for having me.
Yes, sir. And thank you to everybody who joined this podcast and listening in and watching or wherever you're at. But thanks to everybody listening. Brett, thank you again for coming on. And man, keep doing you, man. Keep doing great things out there.
Yeah. Hey, you too, man. You too. Keep your head up and keep chipping away at that rock.
Yes, sir. And thank you for your service again, man. Can't wait to see you
Thanks
again.
for the support, man.
Yes, sir.